Okay, let's call this meeting to order. This meeting, all the meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so that citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of the meeting. Roll call.
Gunderson,
Here.
Gage,
Here.
Mr. Lipke has asked to be excused. I did speak with Mr. Potratz earlier today about the topics for tonight, and then the others that are not here are Bain, Stelzner, and Bayman.
Okay. Alright. Well, I guess I'll be looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the April 12th, 2016.
Okay, second it.
You can make a motion if you want,
I make a motion.
and I'll second it.
There we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Citizens' appearances. I'm taking that smile as a no.
He's appeared.
He's appeared. It's a disappearance. All right. Well, discussion and possible action on the community center rental fee policy.
So we have, in your packet, you've got some, what I tried to find were brief examples, 1 page or 2 pages or less. We've got New London, which has the Washington Center. We've got the town of Dale, which has a room and a kitchen, sort of like what we're looking at. It's a little bit bigger though, but you do have a real quick rundown. And then where I'm from originally would be Weyauwega, and I've got a 1 page quick rundown on the rules, and then I think for all 3 of them, or maybe just Dale and Weyauwega, I've got the actual form itself in there. And so we could take a look at that. I also have a handout for you guys on some questions that I think we should probably answer. And that's the handout that says thoughts to consider on the community room kitchen rentals. And I'll just really quick run through this.
Really quick.
Some of the questions I've got are what are the appropriate types of events and what will you allow people to bring into this room? DJs, bands. Another question would be what are the appropriate times of day for events? Some of these communities, because it's a municipal building, they've said, you have it till 10 or 11. I think one of them even says that you could offer alcoholic beverages, but you can only do that till midnight. Not sell them, but offer them or have people bring them in. That's another topic we'll get to. But on our end, because this is the municipal building, is there a time that you want to try to herd? Is there a time too early and is there a time too late? Another question I've got is, are there any groups or individuals that you would prioritize over others for scheduling? So in this case, we've talked about the idea of the senior meal program coming. There's still a negotiation that has to occur there on that, but if they are going to come, that's probably an event that would be regularly scheduled Monday through Friday at a certain time. Would they have priority over others? And would other groups have priority over others yet? On top of that, would you give priority to residents versus non-residents, nonprofits versus regular businesses? Those are some of the things to look at. And then what we're looking at then is the meat of, after you get a policy, what would be the fees to rent the facility? Would you have an hourly rate, a daily rate? If it's hourly, is there a minimum amount of time? Because we're putting in TVs with a wireless media system, so we'll have DVDs, wireless hookups, wireless microphones, TV remotes. We'll also have kitchen equipment, utensils, and then we have the tables and the chairs. On all of those items, is there an upcharge for the use of those things? And I think we had even, I think I talked to you, Nick, if there's somebody that wants to come in and run like a exercise class, well, they're going to want an empty room, they're not going to be using this stuff. Is that any different than somebody that wants to come in and maybe use the TVs and the remotes and that? That's one of the questions too. So is there an upcharge or is it included in the rental fee? And then as we talked about prioritization for groups or individuals, is there any different fee structure by groups or individuals? And what we mean by that is there a community group that could have a reduced rate or a no charge rental compared to other groups or individuals? The other item on the fee structure then, would there be a security deposit that would be required? I would think there would be. And then on that, would it be for cleaning and or damage, and what amounts would be appropriate? And then the big question, which is the last question, would be the idea of alcoholic beverages, whether or not they're allowed on site, and if so, are there any restrictions on supervision by staff or the police or anything there? One quick comment I can make, and it's a question that Nick, you had asked me to take a look at. One of the communities, I think it's that Schwabenland, mentions that very briefly they say state law does not allow you to sell liquor or alcohol from this building. I've checked on that, and I've done some checking. I even called because I work there. I know all the contacts there. I called them and I asked if they had any citation on the specific section of the law that says that you can't, and we couldn't find the specific one. But on my end, I have dropped a line to the Department of Revenue, because at the state, they're the ones that they have special agents that regulate liquor licensing and allowable sales. So I've reached out to them for any comment on whether or not, what the restrictions are there. Obviously, whenever you sell alcohol, you do have to license that. So I would defer to state law and the state reps on how we make that work. But before I go too far down that road, the question for you guys is it allowed to be there at all?
To me, I don't think we should have liquor here.
Well,
I really,
are we gonna jump down there right away? We're gonna say-
However you want to go.
right.
I lay all those
I'll
questions
tell you,
out to say
I
how you
am
want to go.
in favor of the alcohol.
well,
Not in selling it, but doing it, because I know that one of the people that would really like to use this is the funeral home.
oh, okay.
And frequently at those places, they do have alcohol. Also, I'm not in favor of selling it. I don't think they should sell it, okay? But I do think that, and it's also, I think that it should increase the amount of deposit if they have it. And then it should be,
I guess if I had to speak, I'd say the same thing for that Bruce said. I don't think I would, for the simple fact is that you take like in Fremont, the American Legion, they still use part of that building when they have that chicken barbecue over there, so they don't allow you to walk over there, and they have pies and stuff there. So you can't carry a beverage over there and walk into that city hall with it, because it's not a licensed
Yeah.
beverage place.
but neither is a park, and we allow it at
So
the
now-
parks.
So now we would have to make sure that they would have, this would be licensed then for it. They would have to have someone that is licensed to disperse it.
Right.
And you can't have 16-year-old, 15-year-olds, I don't care if it's a funeral and they're gonna go around dumping a glass of wine, they can't be doing that.
No, and just like you can't do it at a park.
But I don't think, the other thing is too, is you can't say, okay, the only time we're gonna allow it is for funerals.
I didn't say that.
But, well, no, you just said, I think funeral people wanna use it, and for things like that,
Right.
that's how I understand where you're going with that, they have celebrations. But now you're telling someone else that maybe wants to use it for a confirmation, or a graduation.
Right, for wedding,
Or a wedding, a short, small
Right,
little
absolutely.
wedding group. Now you're telling them that they can't.
I didn't say that, Mike. Those words never came out of my mouth. What I said was groups such as the funeral home, I know that they want to use it. I didn't say that they would
No.
only do that,
No,
because weddings should be able to also. This was the whole idea behind building the community rooms, giving people a place to go.
What does Manawa do in this North Marion? Their community centers. Do they have alcohol in their community centers?
Yeah, we can check on that.
Check.
I don't
check
know off
with
the top of
them.
my head.
On other
but-
people that have community
Yeah,
centers.
Dale does, but now, Dale's, well,
Dale's community center isn't a police station either.
But it's the
Fire
town hall.
station.
It's the town hall.
it's the town hall, it's everything,
Yeah, everything's all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the kitchen, that'll be locked, if they don't request it, those doors are locked and they can't get in there, correct?
Right.
Okay, so it'd be the same thing with electronics. If they don't request it, if they don't pay, if we're gonna charge a And I would think that we're gonna charge a higher deposit for anything you're gonna use.
And that's like I said, one of the questions. 'Cause
Right, I mean-
there's a lot of topics we could go through.
Right.
To really, and they're not all very large topics, but they're all probably relevant. You know what I mean?
Right. I would think you'd have a base room rate, say for
Yeah.
yoga, whoever, 'cause then, that one teacher wanted to do yoga. And then I would think that if you're gonna get tables, well, that's gonna raise it up, table and chairs will raise it up, electronics will raise up, and you'll have deposits accordingly.
Well, Legion Hall, when you used to rent that out, all the chairs are all included,
Right,
and everything's included there.
right. I asked the chief about it, and he did not have a problem with alcohol.
I would say
So-
the main thing, we're trying to get the Meals on Wheels over here.
Right.
That should be our main factor. You
Well-
getting elderly in here. So they're gonna have a nice parking lot out back now. They can walk in, they ain't gotta worry about
Right.
pulling out and getting hit.
But it would
No,
be
I
up to
think
them
that's-
to sign a contract with us or,
Right.
Yeah, right.
And
monitor
so-
anything and reserve the room.
Right.
We've had them in a couple times to take a look at the facility, and the info we've had is that we're building the room, we're outfitting the room, furnishing it for what they need,
Right.
and they have some wants, but a negotiation if they come here would be, what types of things are we providing, what are they providing? The other item that's out there is, and it's information that was just passed openly to us, is the fact that they pay rent to the Presbyterian Church. Like in the $300 a month range. So I mean, it's not just a free
Right.
rental.
No,
So that's part of the negotiation too, would be, are they coming? The signs are that they're coming because they like the building, they like the setup. It's just a matter of once we finish the building, then we have a place to offer once it's
Right.
complete, and we're almost there.
Yeah.
American Legion, how much did they pay to use that building to do? Ever hear?
I don't know that we got the actual number on that, but I do know that because they had offered up like senior activities after, that's where the city had been in the business of contributing. Was it $1,500 a year?
12 or
Towards-
15, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So. But on our end, so I've got some of the other facilities here. They show their rates too. The rates are really all over
I noticed that.
all over the board. Just for some reference on our end, when we have our shelters, we rent them out by the day.
Mm-hmm.
We allow people to bring alcohol. We don't let them sell it because we don't license that. The only thing we do license is for the ball field. It's a little bit different than
Or for the community
this Summer
fest,
Fest.
when they have that,
Yep.
when
yep.
they had it.
Right. So we just raised our rates over there where it's $55 a day for the brand new shelter. And then it's $45 a day for the other one. So in comparison, those aren't really as complex or advanced as what this building's going to be because we have the technology, we have a kitchen, the restrooms are all indoors.
Right.
It's kind of a weatherproof type event.
Yeah.
Well, it should cost more, but I wouldn't want to have to rent it by the day though.
Right.
Because that would mean that Meals on Wheels would have it blocked up for a whole day when they're not gonna be in here, but for a couple hours. And then
Yeah.
we'd be turning away people and,
But do you want to have the ability, if it was me personally, if I wanted to try to get it on a Saturday, I'd want to make sure I blocked it off for the whole day. So maybe we
well,
have
they should
something
have the
of a hybrid.
ability. You should have the ability to rent it for a whole day or a whole
Sure.
evening or whatever,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it not
yeah.
should, it shouldn't be mandatory that.
Automatically it should be a day, you shouldn't be able to go in there.
Well, if there's meetings or something like that too,
Right, you wouldn't,
just in looking at, so that with the New London, they have a rate for nonprofit groups, and when it comes to the community center for meetings or events, they charge them $8 an hour
right,
for community group. And we look at the second page, they're looking at $15 an hour for everyone else.
right,
And that seating capacity is gonna be similar to what we're gonna have, where we're gonna be able to seat 80 to 85, maybe 90 people, depending on whether the tables are in there or not. So that's what they're looking at, is $8 an hour, or it's $15 an hour. They do have some of their rules on there too, just briefly. You look at then the town of Dale. Town of Dale has, they rent it per day, So they've got the full room, the cost per day is $100 for the day, and then they have a $100 security deposit, which means the total room cost is $200, and you can get the deposit back if you earn it, or, you know, earn it back, I guess we'll say. But then they also add on, if you're gonna use the speaker system, then here's $15, and there's a deposit on the cordless microphones of $180, which I think is pretty hefty, because as you look at what you'd have to pay to rent that out, you're looking at a $400 check for the day, but you know, half of that at least is, well, $300, $280 is in deposits too. But when you charge a deposit, you know, you've got quite a bit of money there too if something gets damaged or your microphones walk off or whatever.
Yeah, they walked off.
The other point I'll put out there is the fact that I think we've been pretty open through these meetings that our security system with cameras is going to be installed in that community room. So everything that happens in there is gonna be on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's overbearing, I think that's just something that would be helpful.
Right.
Nobody's got the time to go look through 20 hours of video line by line, but you know, if something does happen,
Something
well,
gets
you
stolen,
could,
you will, yeah.
right. So that helps, so especially when you start to look at, you know, if there's alcohol or if we require any kind of supervision, you know, for events, we sort of have a built-in system that's going to be supervising the building. So that's what we have here with the town of Dale. The other thing, I believe, is, I don't remember if it's Dale or New London or both, but they have, you know, if you rent it and then you cancel after a certain date, you only get like a percentage back, you know, you might not get a full refund back too,
Right.
which is kind of an interesting thing to consider.
You have to cancel before a certain date.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, then just looking at the Ashwaubenon, they've got their rental rates. And for what we want to look at there is the meeting room. They just passed a referendum to build this big community center, which is what they've got, this banquet room and all that. They're building it now, but the meeting room is what's comparable for us. It seats up to 70 people. They charge $100 for the first 4 hours, and there's a 4-hour minimum on a rental, and then $25 for every hour afterwards that you want that. They have a $100 deposit they require, and then if you're going to be using the kitchen, they have a $200 deposit on that. On our end too, just to clarify or just to remind everybody, you know, we're not building a restaurant quality kitchen. We're not gonna allow, it's not gonna be
Right.
licensed to allow people to prep food. It's gonna be a warming kitchen.
Right.
So with that, does it make sense to get back to these questions here? Maybe run down these questions, or where would you like to go? The cleaning in that, I think, would be pretty canned language that we expect it to be cleaned, you know,
Yeah,
return it in the
Right.
state that you found it. But a lot of this is gonna be, how do we schedule it? Who gets it first? What's the rate? And alcohol. I mean, that's gonna be a big thing.
First come, first serve.
Right. Well, you know, unless, and Becky should have a calendar, just like we have
Which we're
for
gonna have in
the,
all the meeting rooms and everything too,
right,
so.
you know, just like we have out there for the, for the pavilions.
Yep.
And it should be, you know, if some group wants it, you know, whether Meals on Wheels or whatever, you reserve it as first come, first serve.
Well, Meals and Wheels, if they would get it, they'll probably have a contract, you know, like they did over here.
Right.
Legion, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for a year, you know,
Right,
a year at a time.
right,
So that would set them every day,
right.
and so it'll probably be open every weekend.
Yeah.
They'd be open most days too. The Meals on
And
Wheels
they-
isn't
right.
They're in
that
at what, like 9:30, 10, and they're out by like 12:30.
late. Right,
Yeah,
it's
okay,
only
yeah.
a small period, so it would still leave. And then it's a question of getting with them and finding out how much, cause they don't have a large number of people that eat there. In fact, they have a very small
Well,
number of
maybe
people.
it'll go more now.
Well, hopefully.
It used to be over here, there used to be quite a few people going there to eat.
Right.
Until old people would pull out. They had the accidents there, you know, so that's why they moved it over here to Presbyterian church, a little safer for the elderly.
Yeah.
And this here, the parking lot and back here.
Should be nice,
should
but
be
the
ideal.
question will be though, do they need the whole room or half the room?
Right.
Oh, yeah, well, depends on when you come, you know.
Right. Because, if they're using half the room, that means that somebody could still be holding a meeting on the other half.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll get going, something, have bingo for the
Yeah.
elderly, somebody like they used to down here.
Because that'll be the other thing, half room, whole room pricing.
Yeah, the only problem gonna be down there though is that we don't have a divider in that room.
We didn't put a divider up at all, did we?
Not in that room, no.
Oh.
Oh. I mean, there's not one built in. So. I would think, so with the senior meals, I'm assuming that that's gonna be its own separate
Mhm.
contract, that's
Yep.
probably gonna fall, you'll want it within our rental
Mhm.
policies, but I'm assuming that there's gonna be a contract that lays out whatever the deal is for that.
Right.
Maybe a little bit separate this.
Mhm.
Do you guys have thoughts on what types of events? I mean, can people bring in a band or a DJ or is it something that you want? Or,
I think it ought to just be
Well-
a gathering.
Well,
Yes,
but if
me.
you're gonna have a wedding reception,
I don't think you'd want that in here.
that's
Yeah,
a large
these are
portion of why
questions-
we built it.
these are the questions that we've got, you know.
Is for people to have a place to go. So,
Well, check and see what these other ones are doing. You
Yeah.
know, Mano, I don't think there's ever been a wedding in there. And what they've been doing there, they got the weddings they can have right up to Legion.
Do we have, maybe just skip down to the next question. Do you have a time? So what I'm planning on is having this be kind of an idea gathering session to be able to help, form
Well-
a policy then to have for you guys,
and because of that, and quite frankly, because they just came out
Mhm.
yesterday,
Mhm.
without a lot of time to look at or think about these questions.
Yeah.
Personally, right now, I'd almost just as soon table it until next month to be able to go and think about it.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know how you feel about that, but, a one-day thought process,
Yeah,
without being able to check around and see what other people do, and
yeah.
I know we had a benefit, one in Dale.
Yeah.
Benefit parties and stuff, Maybe end up going something like that,
yeah.
But I can't, I don't remember drinking any alcohol there. When they had that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there was too, this was a couple years ago when I was at the benefit.
Sure.
Maybe there wasn't, this never. Yes, by God, I think there was. I know they had pop there.
It's hard to find anything.
Yeah.
You can't even find a church picnic anymore that doesn't have it, so.
It could be. Yeah, check around and see what the other ones do.
Okay. Any thoughts specifically, any guidance at all on that, or you just wanna table it and we'll come back?
Well, I'd like to see more about what other communities do.
Okay,
Uh,
on rates,
rates.
what's allowed, probably most of these questions?
Most of these questions really,
Sure.
do they break it down, tables, chairs, well, stuff
Sure.
like that, electronics, bands,
Yeah,
can you have live entertainment in them?
sure,
Um,
okay. Can do that. Does it matter if it's a community that has a community center attached to a town hall or city hall? Is there any more importance on that compared to somebody that's got a freestanding building? I suppose it'll matter if they differentiate between
See,
alcohol or what's
right.
allowed,
To
or,
me,
you know.
to me, that doesn't really matter because once you get the keep fob system going, if they rent out that community room, the only place they're going to get is community room and the bathroom.
Right, so very clearly, everything else is locked down on the weekend,
Oh,
other
right.
than the police department, which will be in operation.
Okay.
Right. But they have their own fob. People, they're not going to be able to go in any offices. They're not going to be able to come up here. When you rent out those spaces,
Mm-hmm.
you only have access to those spaces.
Well,
Right.
So we're protected that way.
The idea is everywhere except for the restrooms,
Right.
there's a camera on where they'll be
Okay.
allowed to be, even on the front and the outside of, front and back of the building too. So,
yeah, just find out what the rest of them are doing, you know, that's the way this was set up to be. If it'll go decent,
sure,
I just want to see a brand new building get wrecked, you know, people go and they drink alcohol.
yeah,
Beer spilt all over the floor, you know, and
yeah,
Well, the good thing is if you charge enough a deposit, that
they're pretty
Pretty
sensible.
takes
Not-
care of that. When you have
Yeah.
like funerals and stuff like that, you don't usually don't
No,
see people getting too carried away. I know one thing I'd like to see is that smoking isn't allowed in the front of the building. I'd like to see if there's going to be smoking,
going back,
It'd
have
be
a
in
lounge
back.
back there or something.
because we don't have cigarette butts and everything else out front. I don't want.
Actually, like they were talking last night, you know, we're gonna put a chair up back there, you know, for people when they come in, they can sit down, have a little smoking thing right there, a little,
You know,
okay. Might be helpful if we had more than 2 committee members here too to discuss.
it would be, or maybe a couple citizens because
Yeah.
it's they
it's everybody's,
yeah.
thought.
Okay,
Did all the citizens get mailed a packet?
they were all notified of the meeting here for tonight. Yeah, I don't think they got mailed a packet, because the problem we've found is that mailing things sometimes takes 3-4 days before, when you mail something out here, somebody actually gets it, which is very odd to me.
Can
Got
we
emails and that, we could email it to them, you know,
emails or can we deliver packets?
we could. Could,
I'll even do that. I'll take and deliver them. But, because it would be nice to deliver them, say this is what we're looking at,
yeah,
and
Yep.
get some input.
mm-hmm. Sure. That's good. Okay,
Because I guess when it comes right down to it, people like John Dalkey has talked to me about, he wants to use it.
mm-hmm.
So maybe I'd like to have John here or a representative of his, we have this yoga person, possibly we want to hear from them, Because I think our goal is to make it as usable and open as we can,
Okay,
I understand that, but
Mm-hmm.
what would be suggestions from the citizen out there?
okay,
Don't hear it.
All right. You okay with that now?
Yeah.
Got direction? Think we know what we're gonna do? Maybe.
yeah. No, I do.
Okay.
I do.
That makes one of us.
I smile a little bit at me. I think our goal is, no, I think that too, so that's good.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the swim lake fees then for
Okay.
2016.
I did talk to Mr. Potratz. We did run through the revenue detail, which is this handout sheet that you have. talked to Mr. Potratz about the discussion that we had at the committee, where we talked about the different types of fees we have. We've got daily passes. The direction that came to me from this committee in the last month or two was that $2 for kids, $3 for adults to come for the day is an affordable price, and we should probably look to keep it at that. The other item that we have is season passes, and you'll notice on there that we have family passes. It's broken down by whether you're a resident or not. And we have family passes, $45 for resident, family plus one, which is usually like a babysitter or a neighborhood kid or something like that, $50. A resident adult is $30, and a resident child is $25. On this sheet here, you will see how many of each pass we've sold in 2015, and then what the revenue is from there. So our revenue overall was about $15,300 last year. On daily passes, we made $6,600, so that's a good chunk. It's over a third, that's probably 35–40%. On our season passes, we did make most of the passes there. We got 45 of them that are resident families. For residents, we had sold 60 season passes of all types. We had brought in $2,700. On our non-residents, we sold 17 passes, $820. The other item that we have there is swim lessons, and we break that down by whether or not you are a resident, and we also break it down by whether or not you have a season pass. And that's an item that Mr. Potratz and I have been discussing, and I'll come back to that. But then the next item we have then is concessions. We sold $1,500 in concessions last year. Our profit was $800, so that's how we make up our revenue.
Where do you have all your prices? I don't have it on this one,
The prices?
huh? No, how much you made on it?
Oh, it's a monstrous
Oh, you got it someplace else.
spreadsheet. Yeah, it's so. And you're talking about concessions?
No, I'm talking about your season passes.
Oh, it's, I'm sorry, search it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, and yeah, that other handout.
okay, I didn't see that.
So that's the sheet that I'm going down.
Okay,
So again, the thought that I had, or the recommendation passed from this committee was, look at the daily passes, keep them about the same, it's affordable. The word I also received was on concessions. Look to leave those about the same price, keep them affordable, but also look to offer like a granola bar or maybe some healthier options if we can. We don't have a kitchen over there, so we don't cook food, but is there anything else that we could offer that stays affordable? So when we look at rates for this year, the thought is that the daily passes, we would recommend to keep the same. The concession amounts, a quarter for an airhead, 50 cents to $1 for candy bars, $1 for a bottle of water, $1.50 for Gatorades. Leave all that stuff about the same. What I think is interesting though is we make about $3,500 on our season passes, and we make about $3,600 on our swim lessons. On our swim lessons, quite a few of our swim lessons are sold to non-residents that don't have a pass, a season pass. So the difference would be, if you have a family pass at the city swim lake is $45, and that's if you're a resident. So if you're a resident, you're paying $45 for family pass. You're paying $15 per kid for your swim lessons. So one child to go take swim lessons, that family's spending $60. If you're a non-resident, or if you're a resident without a pass, the swim lessons are $25. What we've usually done here is if you have a pass, you get a $10 discount on swim lessons. But the passes themselves are a lot more money, if that makes sense. One of the things that Mr. Potratz had recommended, and I had talked to him about this, was, is there a way to try to incentivize people to get a pass? And with that, one of the thoughts we were looking at is for swim lessons, if you don't have a pass, to increase that fee by about $5, $5 or $10. So right now, if you're a resident, you live in the city, you pay $25 just to do swim lessons if you don't have a pass. If you're a non-resident, you pay $30 without a pass. Again, is there a maybe $5 or $10 that you could increase, or try to incentivize people to buy a pass? The trouble with looking at this here is we don't collect enough data on the daily passes to find out, does child A show up 25 times through the summer where you try to get them to buy a pass? We don't really collect that info, It would be nice if you knew, try to entice people that are coming daily to try to get them to just get a pass.
So we don't charge different rates for resident, non-resident on daily passes?
We don't. And so the thought here is that because the swim lake costs us roughly $50,000 to run, and we collect $15,000, in theory, people that are residents of the city are paying for it already. If you're paying your taxes,
Right.
even if you're a renter, your rent goes towards your landlord paying their taxes.
Right.
So, in a way, people that live in town are already contributing towards the swim lake, whether or not they use it.
Right.
So, the one place that we don't differentiate is by the daily pass.
And I'm just wondering if we should. I'm wondering if there should be $1 more for non-resident on that daily pass.
Yeah, I would think.
That's a good thought to consider.
I just think that's one way where we could
Yeah.
increase the revenue some, and like you said, you're paying your taxes, plus, and then you're paying the same amount. If we're charging them more down below, why wouldn't we charge them more?
Yeah,
On
at
the
least we
daily.
charge them differently,
Right.
whether they live here or not.
Right. So I guess, that's one thing I would like to do right now, is
Okay.
bump that up $1 for non-residents on the daily passes.
Okay.
Is that all right with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
And then, did Tim give you some, did he think going up $5 on that was
Yeah.
he thought that would be an okay thing?
Yeah. So
Just because he's sitting down there more than
to
we
quote,
are.
yep, and to quote him, because that part of the conversation was an email today. So
Okay,
I will put that in the record here. On his end, he thought it was because it's affordable. In general, we've talked about that. The swim lessons
yeah,
are pretty affordable. On his end, he says, well, if we would look at season passes for non-residents and swim lessons for non-residents, if you looked at $5 to $10 an increase on both of those items, but we're looking at the non-residents, his quote is that it's something that would increase our revenue, and it's not going to have a negative impact on who's all signing up, because he thinks that it's still affordable at that rate yet too.
so non-resident passes we're looking at.
Yep.
So,
And so, and you've got this, can you follow
Raise
along
that
with what
Yeah.
the rates are here?
$5
Yeah.
or $35, right?
yep,
So the non-resident season passes, what you're looking at is for
Yep.
family,
yep,
$55, family plus one is 60, an adult is 35, and a child is $30.
Yep.
So on the family passes, it's $10 more, so being a resident gets you a $10 discount on that. If you're in a family or family plus one, and if you're an adult or a child, you're saving $5 by being a resident. The tough thing about the season passes is that you look at the number that we sell, 60 of them are to residents already, which is
Yep.
good.
yep,
17 of them
Right.
are to non-residents. So if you're looking at a $5 increase on the non-residents,
I'm looking at
say
$85.
you're getting 10 to 15 of them, it's 50 to 70, 80 bucks, so. In a way, it incentivizes residents yet,
Mhm.
because you're not really, you're keeping the price the same. But when you look down at the, swim lessons themselves, the one total that I don't have on your sheet there is the fact that 59, we have 159 total sales or registrations for swim lessons, if that makes sense. So if you count one child that takes a class as one, we had 159 last year total. 59 of those were residents, and 100 of them were non-residents. So
Wow.
out of all of our swim lessons, 100 of them, so if you count one kid per class, 100 of them are non-residents. And of that, 62 of them don't have a pass. So you have a good chunk of non-residents who don't buy a swim pass, who then sign up their children for swim lessons, which means people from out of the city are coming into town, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But they're paying $30 per class. Because if you're a non-resident without a pass, you pay 30 bucks.
Right.
Yeah.
So at $30 a class, you're getting quite a few people that are coming to sign their kids up for that class too.
Yep.
You know.
But if you raise it too high and they don't come back,
Yeah, you-
then you've had the opposite effect of what you want.
In the $5 to $10 increase, what I kind of put out there, and then just in talking to a couple other recreation supervisors, is usually what that role is that would handle this. When they increase fees like that, $5 to $10 for something like this, they're looking at, maybe 85% of that number will still buy it at that higher rate. That's not scientific, but that's kind of in asking people, well, what have you done with your rates?
Right.
What they've tried to do is incentivize people to get a pass and incentivize people that are residents because they're residents of the city. So the one thing we have to provide a benefit to residents is that you would like to increase the daily pass for non-residents, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing. On the resident season pass side, do you feel comfortable with the way those rates are sitting right now for season passes? I mean, that's the bulk of our season passes is that rate, knowing that the residents are paying that and then some to run the lake.
I'm comfortable with the residents.
Okay?
Non-residents, you're not?
You have 17 of them that we sold last year, so an increase, like we said, ends up being maybe $50. So I mean, it's not
Not
you
all
get
that much.
deep, but right. And when you look at these rates, you get one of them that doesn't want to buy a pass at a higher rate. Well, then you already that's $50 maybe right there already. You know.
Right.
How much are you paying your lifeguards out there now?
$7.50 to $8
Those
an
guys
hour.
ain't gonna get, are they gonna get a raise? Or-
Usually, when they come back a second year or a year next year, it's a quarter on the
Yeah.
scale. Yeah. Yeah. And over time, that balances out because usually they'll work 2 or 3 summers. And then after 2 or 3 summers, then somebody that's making maybe $825, $850, then they maybe go on and get a job elsewhere, or a full-time job, and then you hire somebody for $1 less an hour
Yeah.
or whatever.
I want to see if they come back, if we give them a raise, how much are we gonna compensate by,
Yep.
gonna have to make up a little bit.
If we left the non-resident passes the same price,
Mhm.
and then you increased the swimming lessons for the non-residents, $5 to $10. Could we try to maybe we get more family passes sold that way to non-residents? Because if you got a couple kids, that's gonna jack,
Mm-hmm.
that would be your incentive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, what if somebody were to go like $5 more if they have a pass, and $10 more if they don't have a pass
You're talking on swim lessons?
on the swim lessons?
Well, that would encourage them to get a pass.
They don't encourage them to get a pass, right? Then we'd have that.
So
Would that
then
make
you're looking-
sense?
Yep. Do you want to apply that same logic to residents that don't have a pass?
I actually,
Probably should.
well, suppose we could.
That way there, maybe they'll go and get a pass.
Mhm. Right now, if you have a pass, it saves you $10.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and if the pass is $45, $50, well,
Yeah.
go spend 40, 50 to save $10 doesn't make sense to a lot of people too, Yeah. So what you're looking at is on non-residents swim lessons, if you have a pass, raise it $5 up to $25.
Yeah.
And if you do not have a pass, raise it $10 up to $40.
Right.
Okay. So then what we're looking at then is for
I
residents.
was looking at residents.
If you have a pass, it's $15 for swim lessons. If you do not, it's been $25.
Mm-hmm.
Non-residents, if you have a pass with this change, it would be $25.
Yep.
And if you don't have a pass, then it'd be $40.
Bump that up $10. Yeah.
I'm kind of stuck on the resident one a little bit, because like we said, everybody's already paying for it.
Yep. Yeah.
And Tim was looking at just non-residents raising, right? When he was looking at this.
Non-residents, but then also if you don't have a pass.
Okay.
So kind of both, And there's nothing that says that you have to change resident rates too, I mean. If you have a recommendation that we raise the daily pass for non-residents and then we raise the swim lesson fee for non-residents, so that might be good enough too.
What are you thinking, Bruce?
Well,
Is there now?
I noticed in the past, when our kids were little, we just wanted to get them up swimming, but it cost so much money, them up swimming, That's what a lot of people,
Yeah.
well, I think I'd make a motion to raise it 5 to 10 like we were talking.
For the residents too?
You're just saying on
Um,
non-residents?
Or just
that-
non-residents?
Non-residents.
And leave the residents alone?
Okay,
I'm okay with that.
so what I'd probably ask then is in the motion, there's two recommendations. One is on the daily passes for non-residents, you wanna raise that $1. And on the swim lessons for non-residents, $5 if you have a pass and a $10 increase if you don't.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
Okay.
So you want two separate motions? Or one altogether?
We want all the other one.
You could do that, one altogether.
One altogether?
I'd make a motion to do that. That's what, 25 and would be 40
Yep.
for, no pass,
And swim lessons.
swim lessons.
And then you're doing $1 on the daily passes?
$1 on the daily passes. Daily passes.
I'll second that when you've got it.
Okay, increase the daily passes $1 for non-residents and increase for swim lessons $5 with a pass, $10 without a pass.
We have a motion and a second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. And now the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan.
Hello? Yep. Emergency on call. Yes. Okay, do you have a phone number? That sounds good. I will have the officer on duty give them a call. All right, thank you, and bye. Sorry about that. Dogs at large like a call, so they call the general city hall phone number. Goes to the answering service.
Maybe you're the dog catcher too.
Sorry about that.
Well,
So we are on to
citizens
the.
come first.
Yep. Duty calls.
All right.
The updated process for the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. I had talked to the chairman, sent him a copy of the plan. Looks like back in 2004 was the last update to our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. Have a copy of that in there. In reviewing the process to develop that, it looks like they had a citizens group. It was led by a consultant, which wasn't Cedar, but it was probably Foth at the time, pre-Cedar. You do have a copy of the document. One of the things that Nick and I had talked about was that this could be sort of a guiding process for the recreation committee to help through this next year, or for at least for half the year. One of the issues that we ran into is with the recreation committee is keeping up on relevant things to talk about. And so by default, we've talked about events in town, fireworks, other events that we may have, other events that we help out with. Maybe, I don't know that we sponsor it really any events, but we do assist. The Community Summerfest, we would offer up a free swimming day. We wouldn't charge rates at the swim lake, partially because it operationally helped us out. The other part of it was it's something to give back. And I think we did make a note that we will consider a free swimming day because the Community Summerfest isn't going to happen this year. We're probably looking at like a weekend in June. But we'll get that set out there.
Right.
But with this plan, really, we should be looking at updating this plan, but maybe even more importantly, one of the things that Nick and I talked about, and Nick brought it up, was you read the plan and then you try to wonder or keep score on how much of it we follow and how much of it, if we had a plan, did we follow it? And I wasn't here for the bulk of 2004 through 2013, but it sounds like we had the plans, maybe we just didn't execute it completely. That's a way to put it.
That's a gentle way of putting it. But
Yeah. So the question would be, it's really a plan for the parks, for recreation in the city. It's not going to be a process that'll be quick, so it'll probably be an undertaking. I guess, do you guys have thoughts on how to go about that? Do we look at running it in with this committee here, or should we be considering consultants to hire on? I know we have something of a mandate to review or shop out our engineering services. Is that something that we add on as part of that review? Is somebody that could assist with this review?
was
Thoughts?
this review, this comprehensive outdoor recreation open space plan, was this state mandated like
My understanding that it pretty much was.
but is it? I mean, the smart growth is we still have to. It's still mandated that we go back and we review it every 10 years or 5 years or whatever it is.
Right.
Does this one fall into the same thing? Is there a mandated review on it, or was this a one-time?
I think there's an expectation that you, well, follow it, and then an expectation that you sort of keep it
Keep it
in
current,
mind as well, yeah.
but is it,
I'd have to double check on that,
could you?
yeah, I can.
Because that would be the difference as to whether we need to hire a consultant or not, is, are we being mandated by the state?
Sure,
Because if we're not, then maybe, if need be, maybe we could, if we had to work with Jessica, she's, would be cheaper than bringing
from
in,
UW Extension,
yeah.
This is to get special events here, you mean?
No, well, no, this is, if you read it, this, I mean, you probably haven't a chance to read it yet. No, probably not, because you just got the stuff. I mean, what it does is just talks about, in 2004, they identified ways of improving our park system and the recreation for the community. And a lot of it hasn't been done, some of it has, you know, and we should go through this, but how do we go about it? If it's a state mandate, Jessica, and I cannot think of Jessica's last name,
Beckendorf,
Beckendorf.
yeah,
That's probably why I can't remember it.
yeah.
She works for the county, or for, not the county, the,
UW Extension,
UW
it's
Extension.
at the courthouse though, is where her
Oh.
office is.
so we could get her in, and I think it's almost a free thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to having to bring in paid consultants,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be better.
right?
Yep,
I don't know if this is even something she does,
check with her.
but yeah, check with her, because it would be interesting to go through it with her.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
And it would, you know, it'd be interesting maybe to go park by park.
yeah,
A lot of the green spaces they talked about never really materialized.
mm-hmm,
Um,
yep.
Have you ever thought about getting frisbee golf up to the park?
Yes, in fact, that is in here.
It is.
And we,
My boy goes all over the place. In London, Appleton, he goes places frisbee golf, all over the place. And he said there's people at them courses all the time.
and he plays it frequently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he don't play much now because he's working, but
That would not, you
yeah,
know.
God, they're kids all the time up there. Hatton Park, they got a big one there.
Yep.
Yep.
I got one in my backyard, you know, where he throws his frisbee. He got all different kinds of frisbees, you know, different sizes, you know,
Yep.
for different.
It's like the driver and the putter and
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
up in there,
same thing.
yep.
I've played that at Hatton Park, I've played it in Appleton.
Got him a
Wow.
packet.
I
Yep.
didn't do very well, but
Play it, it's okay.
I didn't do very well the one time I
It's
tried
like real
golfing
golf
either,
too.
so.
It's like real golf too.
Yeah.
But that is something that we have talked about. Biggest problem we had is that seeing as how none of us actually participate in the sport,
It's hard to,
we had a hard time trying to figure out how you would set it up and what you needed, because
Oh,
we didn't know. So if that's something that your son would be interested in, that, you know, that might be something that we could look at, because we're always looking for outside help. You know, at least in that respect, to know, you know, how would we lay it out in that park? Even if it
Right.
was, you know, only 9 holes instead of 18 or whatever, we could,
yeah.
or a putting range or whatever, something, but that, you know, it's, anything like that that people could do for free would be great.
Yeah.
And get them up and utilizing the park.
yep,
Yeah, that'd get people up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
Because it, like I said, it's in here, and when Sherry was here, I asked her about it, but like I said, there was none of us that, I don't really know, you know, like I said, I went out there and threw some stuff in the
yeah,
bushes, but
yeah, he's underhanded like this, you know, they can get different
Mm-hmm.
lifts out. I got bad rotator cuff, I can't throw it. Yeah.
I get, you know, because that'd be one of the things, that, like I said, we're looking at park by
Yeah, all
park.
I know, it's really growing.
Yep.
You know, this, and all over the places, you know, they got these funny looking nets and stuff, you know, and that's what they are. I got one in my
And
backyard.
they
now.
actually do have one behind the school.
Oh, do they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They have a small one behind the school.
Just a net, or they got a regular course?
They get a course,
Oh, do they?
yes. A little bit too close to the water for me, but that might have just been me.
Oh. Just like a golf ball.
Yeah,
Well, I guess you can, you talk to Tim Potraz and see who put them up there, we can figure out how to put it up at the park, one up at the park here too.
yeah. Okay.
So is that pretty wishy-washy on this?
No,
too?
no, it's so, a couple questions are we check on the mandate to update it,
Yep.
and then also check with the UW extension on coordinating it. Now,
Right.
I don't know that those are tied together, I think even if you're mandated to do it, I think you could probably check with the UW extension on it.
Correct.
Anyway,
Yep.
either way,
Either way. Just find out if that's something that she would handle.
sounds good.
I don't see, because it was, Mike, well, I don't know if Mike Coles was here then or not. So
Yeah.
he had the job before her, and
Mm-hmm.
his name isn't on
I
here.
thought he was like an old 607-ish is when, but
I'm not sure.
grabbing straws. Okay. Well, we'll look at those two questions, and then maybe in the interim, then we'll have the committee and everybody just read through that some
Right.
more.
Yep,
Sounds good.
same thing, copies, and I get it to the citizens, and
We'll do that.
along with, stuff on the community hall.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is faster to get people to come in it, or to get revenue to get some money out of it.
Yep.
That's,
The other biggest thing is to make sure it gets completed.
Well,
One of
it's,
the other biggest things.
that's a big thing.
We're getting there.
what about your municipal courts? There's, anything gonna get going on that, you're gonna start having them come here?
Yeah, that's another discussion we have to have with them. Court right now, my understanding is that it's twice a month. So the thought would be if we can get it here once or once every other month, that would be a good thing. The way the fees and everything are set up there though, their office is based in New London at the New London City Hall. We don't pay any more or less. So one of the questions would be if they have to get on the road and come here, do we then have to pay more for it but if we have to pay more to bring it here, we're not paying our people to go drive to New London either, so,
Right.
Right, so, you may even know,
right,
Yeah.
we might just bring more people to town.
yeah, yeah. So that's a discussion that we're having.
That dog's still running.
No, they're on it. 2 dogs, they're on it.
They're on it.
They're on it, yeah.
All
That was
right.
confirmation that we're on it.
Good deal.
Multitasking here during this meeting.
Oh, right here it is.
There it is.
It's all frisbee golf, yeah.
Yep.
Is that funny table contents?
It's a very interesting, report. It's,
Mhm.
and having said it on the comprehensive one, I can tell you they're not fun to do.
Yeah,
Where?
but, the updating part of it, if we're, depending on the level of mandate on a review, you could go right through the plan that we have. Talk
Right.
about whether we did it or not, and whether we can or not, and,
Is it still relevant? And we should. Anytime one of the councils took the time and effort to do a report like this, I think we owe it to them to follow through on it, or
Yeah.
at least
Mhm.
keep abreast of it,
Yeah.
Granted, things always change and, priorities change,
Right,
but,
yeah.
but still, if a former council did something, I think we should follow through as best we can.
Try to keep on the same page.
Yep. Get that continuity. It also helps because if you don't have a vision or a goal, you don't know where you're going with. This will
Yeah,
help with
yeah,
that.
no vision.
So we're all good with that?
we are.
Want to set the meetings for next month?
I've got an administrator's report on here too, I think.
Oh, you do? I'm sorry. I just skipped right
But
over
no,
you.
that's okay. We
Thought you
don't
were working
really
with
have-
dogs.
One of the things I'll tell you guys is that the
Yeah.
beach house area, that has been a long talking thing down there to
Mhm.
take care of. And it's been dragging on and dragging on. And I think what's gonna happen is city's gonna end up getting in a little bit of trouble, probably because of the fact that Steve Artis lives right next door, and he has used that building since he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to get him to not use the building, and he fought it, and he's still putting, I think he's probably still using it. We put that fence up on the backside
Mm-hmm.
and had it surveyed and everything, put that fence up there, and then, we were supposed to kind of clear that off, but you can't. If you go look at that, it's gonna be hard to kind of, so the plan was, is we were gonna take the building out
Okay.
and bring another building, another, we had somebody design it, kind of like what we have at the park up here,
Mhm.
with an open end, and then restrooms, changing area. But we were gonna bring it towards the lake a little bit more, so we had room in the back to fence that off.
Mm.
So that's been on there, but I don't know, how does that, isn't there a law that after so many years?
Couple things. One is that law just was beefed up this last session to protect communities from that type of a situation. And it's communities in general where, and I'm just winging it just off of your comment, but what they call that is the word escapes me, but if somebody's using the property after so many years, then they say, well, it's mine now. Specifically as it relates to municipal owned buildings or land, either that deadline was extended or it was eliminated completely where, and I think I remember reading in the law change was it doesn't matter how long you've been using it, if it's the municipal property, you can't take it. Now, we can go a little deeper on that. Then the other thing is, I've had a couple people talk to me, and even in the survey a couple times, comments have come up saying, well, it'd be nice if you could go revamp that beach house and restore swimming there. My understanding is that the water quality probably will never allow us to get back to that.
No,
Where you'd have swimming there, and I'm not sure if we'd want the liability on that too, but what you're talking about is a building like a shelter where maybe you rent it and it's just on the water there too.
Right. Yeah, there was talk about putting a bigger one there with the restrooms, and then a couple of smaller ones, just like with a roof on and maybe a picnic table or two in it, and that was it.
Oh.
So that they could utilize it for fishing. There was nothing was ever discussed about, about going back to the beach, because at the time when we were talking about it, that's when the weed thing started picking up, and, it got to be the Lake Conservation Club rented, a couple of years, they rented one of them weed cutters. They were
Bob
out there-
Radke did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
They were cutting weeds out there, and they had it set up on the point over here, and they tried, taking them out, putting them on farmers' fields, and of course, now they probably can't do that, because now the DNR won't allow that, and so some of this stuff that I see with the lake in here, yeah, is kinda aged and probably gonna be by the wayside, but that was one thing that I was reading was the beach house, and I know that. That was always in the plan, but never really got.
And that part is actually city property. Unlike, parts of Peterson Park, we lease, but the beach house is actual city property.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I wasn't sure how all that,
Well, the land is not. The land is part of that, I don't think we own that, but the building you're saying that we own.
No, that property is.
All the way
that's-
down the lake, I don't
That's,
believe.
that's
That's where we
the
had
city's
swimming
property,
lessons.
it is, see, it's,
We should double check on that.
because that
I
only
think.
goes up to that point, and then it stops. The rest of that is city property.
That was used to be a parking lot up
Yep,
there.
yep, and it used to be,
Where he uses
Yeah.
as his
Double
driveway,
check
that was
on
all
that.
parking lot.
Oh.
yep, you used to be able to park 4 cars. You used to be able to go in his driveway, and there was a steel railing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and you could park, like you said, 4 or 5 vehicles, whatever. You could park there, and then people would walk down, change your,
Yeah, there used to be a shower up there.
you could take a shower when they were done,
Huh.
and change, and, there was a,
Mm-hmm.
both male and female gender
Yep.
room, and then there was a little, I think there was like a little bitty room in between. And I know that years after it wasn't used, for quite a while, the Conservation Club, and maybe one other club stored, like the horse and buggy days, the bar that they used, they would store that in there so that horse and buggy days, Conservation Club for ice fishing, anybody could use that stuff, it was always there. So it was pretty handy to get at.
Oh,
Then when they didn't start using it anymore, then the tables got stored, I wanna say they got stored at the firehouse in the back, along the wall. Well, then nobody was using that anymore. And then that's when all of a sudden there was,
mm-hmm.
wood started piling up in there and, you know.
Maybe we should have locked the doors.
And we went for, well, then the doors were kind of not real accessible anymore because the doors were taken off, and we did a tour, and that's how we found out about it. We did a tour of the whole city, different areas. Everybody had an area what they wanted to kind of look at, said, hey, you know, what about this, what about that?
You
So
probably did that right when you were done, when you guys were doing this.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Huh. So it'd be a good thing to adjust this then.
Mm-hmm.
I remember taking swim lessons down there,
Yep.
saying, yeah, they had a big diving board out there.
Okay. So you got a report?
Well, the only report I got is the adult softball league starts Thursday night. The team plays in town. Looks like we've got a summer worker that we'll probably hire to start in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. As it relates to recreation, the only other thing that's out there is the parking lot project off of Emerald Street, which is, we talked to Public Works a little bit last night, but that's where we were able to reuse the material out of the parking lot that was ground up.
That's
we could
good,
clean
because
it, put it
that's
as a
pretty
base up
valuable
there.
stuff,
Right,
the millions.
yeah,
Makes a good base, you know, it's,
yeah. So, the good news there is that Fox and Vinton were able to work together on that, and should benefit us both ways on that, and then hopefully save us money too, because we're not paying for that material. So,
yeah.
that's all about what I've got for recreation, so.
That's enough. So then, I don't have internet on mine, because I'm not hooked into yours.
Oh,
Can you look at your calendar? And I'm thinking, Mike, for the police, to do it the day after Public Works again,
no, it should be June 14th,
June 14th,
that second Tuesday.
second Tuesday of the month, okay for you? Okay for you?
June 14th?
June 14th, that's a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Then we have a meetings on Monday, Tuesday.
Yep.
Get them done.
Thinking maybe we put that one first, because if you're looking to get Gold Cross at Public Works, do you want that first, or how do you want that to go, I guess?
Yeah,
We flip-flopped it, I
we
think.
flip flop. I think the police should go first if you're gonna have Gold Cross show up. Just because hopefully Tom will be here and possibly some other citizens.
Okay. Okay,
Is that okay with you? All right then. Any other such matters by law?
No.
Anything from the crowd? Just fell asleep. Okay, well, I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
I second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8:29.
From that.